because what I've realized in the past few years is that 80% of the photo shoot success is in the preparation. Will you have the access to the slides later? You will have the recording of this webinar, so you can go through them then, but the slides themselves, no. So if you want, take screenshots or, just write anything down that you find super, super valuable. So yeah, okay, let's begin, shall we? So like I mentioned before, mindset change is the key. So one of the most common things that I hear jewelry business owners, no matter what part of the journey they're in, tell me when it comes to producing content for their brand is that they don't have a good camera, the light is never right, there's too many reflections, the colors look weird, gemstones are not sparkling, the metal is not shining, the silver is not silvering, they don't have the time, or that is the most popular one and my favorite. I'm just not good at taking photos. Well, let me tell you something. There's no excuses anymore, okay? You found me, and if you go through every single video that I've got on Instagram, none of those should, even come up in your mind anymore. So, what is model photography and why should you invest in model content? This is my favorite study of all times, I think. So a study found that adding photos of models wearing products increased jewelry conversions by up to 34%. There are so many reasons why model photography boosts sales, and we're going to dive into them in 1 second. So in reality, the way that I personally categorize model images is UGC, catalog, and model. Model photography in general covers any type of image that showcases a piece of jewelry displayed on a real person. So like I mentioned before we started, the recording, model image is the image you see on the right with the full model face in, with the styling, with the hair, with makeup, with everything. And it's also a close-up of just the ring on someone's fingers, We just need that human element to allow the buyer to resonate with what's in the photo. So user-generated content, you probably have heard this term popping up a lot recently, and it's not for no reason, right? So user-generated content is when someone that imitates a buyer that has already purchased from you and loves your jewelry enough to take photos wearing it and tag you in it and be proud about wearing your jewelry, posts content like that on Instagram. And that is the content that you can share on your feed as well. So UGC increases client trust, and it's perfect for Facebook ads. So if you are dabbling into Facebook advertising, this is the content that you should be really, really investing. So for example, we have a small user-generated content creator basis. They're all like, you can see on the right, Evita, Almanta in the middle. So they're all models. I will just send jewelry to them, not to photograph, with professional cameras, nothing, but like, no, just take good selfies because these photos are going to make insane conversions for the clients. Then we have catalog photo shoots. So catalog is basically the close-ups, right? The close-ups of just the necklace, just the hands, just the ears. They require very low investment because you don't need a professional model to, create this stuff. All you need is a person with more or less tidy manicure and, an ear, for example. And those are perfect for website listings and Etsy. So if you don't have a budget for model photography, there is no excuse. This requires bare minimum investment. You can easily organize that for free as well, to be honest. Just get that shooting. Catalog is crucial. And now model photo shoots is where we have the face of the brand in shot. So those images increase your brand's value, trust, authenticity, and they are great for everything. So you see, the bigger the brands, the more they invest into these photo shoots. They do require quite heavy investment because in comparison to, catalog photo shoots, you need a person with experience. You need clothes and styling. You need professional manicure, makeup, hair, a good location, potentially a studio, where you shoot everything and model feels comfortable posing and all that stuff. So Yeah, model photo shoots are absolutely crucial. So these are the three types of model content that you will find everywhere around you. So this is another interesting study. Forbes found that 67% of consumers made purchases online due to feelings of excitement, not necessarily because they needed the thing. And do tell me if you've ever been there, where, you don't need a product, you don't need whatever you see there, but there you are, buying it, purchasing it because of the emotion, you know? So ideally, on your listing, you have two types of images. One evoking emotion and another one making sales. That is why both either e-commerce or product shot and then an image including a model is absolutely crucial for every jewelry business. Model images help you create the emotional connection with your potential clients, especially when it comes to sentimental pieces such as engagement rings, personalized jewelry, fingerprint jewelry, the generational jewelry that you know that your great children, grandchildren, no, your great grandchildren are going to wear, So a study by the Knot found that 62% of brides to be said that photos of engagement rings were the most important factor when it came to choosing the ring they wanted. It is the feeling that you get by, seeing the high quality image of the thing that you're going to buy. So for example, this is a small campaign for social media that we were doing for our old client Button and Bean. So they create personalized jewelry, right? And it's all about the mum and child connection, like fingerprint pieces, engraved pieces. And this is exactly what we've done. We just went all in with a cute baby shots. And yeah, they ended up working perfectly. So we did a little experiment in 2021. I don't know how many of you have heard about it, how many not. But basically, I sat down and I analyzed 30 jewelry businesses from the UK, from my followers, and I grouped them in three groups: up to 1K followers, between 1 and 5K followers, and 5K and more. And bear in mind, they were all like quite independent, nothing like mass produced, nothing. So what I found, what I did, I analyzed how many model images each category has. So category A, up to 1,000 followers, they didn't even have one image out of 9 on their feed, right? It was mainly product shots, images of the workshop, very random images of, business owners like going on walks and like photographing nice things, whatever, clearly like a very starting brand feed. Now, category B, between 1 and 5K followers, they had approximately 2 model images on their feed within the last 9 posts, right? So that is a little bit better. Now, category C, 5,000 followers and up, showed that they had 5 out of 9 images with a model on their feed. So my question was, does Group A have a small following because of no model photography and investment into their content? Or does it not, or it doesn't have model photography because of a small following resulting in no sales? So it's a vicious circle, investment equals engagement equals sales. Once you have the sales, you have the investment to, put back into your content and all that stuff. So that was a very basic research that we've done. Now I'm going to talk at a jewelry show in London this weekend, and I have done an even larger research, okay? Like I've geeked out on Excel fully. So this is what I've created. It's not finished yet. So basically I've taken 4 categories of different brands, and I've pretty much done exactly the same, but with much more analysis. And to be fair, I don't want to share too much because I'm going to do a full-on paper on this. But I found that now model content is king in high-performing jewelry brands and is higher than 5 out of 9 images. So, the trend is going a very obvious direction. People need a human connection in order to really relate with the brand that they're buying from. And model content is exactly what can do all of that for you. So having model images on your feed builds client trust. It showcases the real item size. Adds a human touch to the business. Image quality resonates with the jewelry quality. And I really want to emphasize that because I keep on telling the story like all the time because it made me quite frustrated. A few years ago, I was looking for a beautiful ring for myself for my birthday. And I was going through many, like probably hundreds of independent jewelry makers, like to, because I wanted something very specific for stones and all that stuff. And I found the perfect ring. Okay. I found my perfect ring. And the website was terrible. They had one photo of that ring that would, I think it cost like £500 or £600 back then. I don't remember. For me, that was a huge investment. Like, I've never had jewelry that expensive in my life. So I was like, right, if I'm gonna spend it, I wanna know that I'm gonna receive the perfect quality, that the business is, not gonna mess up the shipment, nothing. And I didn't end up buying it, not because I didn't like it, but because there wasn't enough trust that the brand has created around its appearance online for me to buy that ring, even though it was genuinely something that I knew I would have loved. So imagine if you don't have amazing, not even necessarily amazing, if you don't have photos um, that give out the trust feeling to your potential clients, how many people are not buying your jewelry? How many people are you missing out on when it comes to selling? Also, model images increase items value and it differentiates you from competitors, especially the shots with model face in. So what I really wanted to focus on is that between 80 and 90% of the work is done before picking up the camera. That's why I really want to focus on just a little bit on talking about things like branding, model, photographer, location, hair, makeup, manicure, and wardrobe, okay? So branding analysis is absolutely key before you pick up your phone. You need to understand what your branding is all about. You need to understand what is the lifestyle of your brand. What is your target audience? Who is the person that you are serving with your photos? Because Steve is going to have a completely different understanding of what a beautiful jewelry brand is online to Letitia, for example, competitor analysis is absolutely key. And here I want to emphasize that consuming content, not only producing it, is absolutely essential if you are a jewelry business owner that produces their own content as well. Analyze what other people in the industry are doing, what you like about it, what you don't like about it. Take it all in. Analyze. Employ the things that you see are performing well. And just employ them. Make them work for you. Now, model. How do you find one as well? So for catalog shots that you can see here, I wish this video played a little bit more. You can have a friend, you can have a scouted stranger that you found on the street, you can have a micro influencer, you can have a macro influencer, you can have a semi-professional model of social, such as, Facebook groups. Like, I remember when I lived in Bristol, we had Bristol models and photographers, just like people that really want to get some cute photos of them and they have good experience and they have, everything that it takes to, model and all that stuff. Connect with those people. You can also connect with professionals via DM or modeling agency, catalog shots. If you don't have any images of your jewelry photographed on a person and you don't have a budget for a full-on model photo shoot, this is where you have to focus on. This has to be on the top of your priority list because model photos sell jewelry. Now, when it comes to a more, experienced models, you can go to macro influencers, semi-professionals of socials, professionals that you connect with via DMs or modeling agencies. Now, how much do they charge? Normally, when we work with semi to professional models, we offer €100 an hour. Now, normally they work in bundles if you need a half a day shoot or a full day shoot. A model that I paid the most, that was from London, like very, very good London's agency. She charged £800 for 4 hours. Here in Lithuania, for example, or Spain, models charge much less than in the UK. So I would say like for £400 a day, you can get a really, really, really good model. Yeah, so the prices vary depending on the experience as well. If you are going for a full model photo shoot, please do not save your money. If you feel like you have a tight budget, go for catalog photo shoots. Don't do model photo shoot unless you really have the budget for a person that is going to stand in front of your camera and going to know exactly what angles work best for them, exactly how to pose, exactly how to move, and all that stuff. So, for example, the results that you can get. No, let me rephrase that. I think if I photographed a person with completely no experience, the results of that photo shoot would be worse than if a person with no experience photographed a model that is full on professional. Because with professional models, the way they move, the way they are, the way they look after their skin, even, where that requires no retouch almost. All you need to do is have your camera right there. They do the job for you, like it's perfect. But when it comes to a person that doesn't have much experience, you need to guide them. You need to tell them how to move arms. You need to tell them how to move everything. They don't know the angles. So it is a bit of a mess. That's why, most of the time, if we hire people that are non-professionals for catalog shoots, we always try to get dancers, because those are the people that are really, really in tune with their bodies, with their movements, with their positions, and it's so much easier to work with them. Okay, now, photographer. And this is not my biased opinion. This is something that I've really, really analyzed heavily. And I understood one thing. Do not go for your local photographer. And I know this sounds controversial, but hear me out. A professional camera does not automatically turn a person into a professional jewelry photographer. Now, if you are about to invest into a photographer that is not you, ideally you are the person that's creating all the content for your brand, do not go for a randomer, right? Be the photographer, learn and educate yourself, practice all the time. And remember that you don't need professional gear to create professional content. We'll touch that in just 1 second. And if you hire a professional photographer, don't go for your friends from college. Do the background check. You will get what you see on that person's socials. For example, it happened, I worked in a photography studio before starting this business, and we photographed loads of products. And we received we received a request from a equestrian clothing brand, very random, okay? And they were like, look, we need e-commerce photos. We've done a photo shoot with someone else before, and the photos turned out to be terrible, And then, of course, we did some research. We checked who they went to. They went to the cheapest option. And of course, they with pretty lower than average results, like portfolio results on their website. And of course, the person received exactly the quality that was on that photographer's website. And they were like, no, this is not good enough. But you receive what you get. Your results will never be better than the best results that that professional photographer or a brand or whatever is posting on their socials. Like, they're already posting their best stuff, okay? They're not going to create more magic for you than what they've already done. So yeah, and a baby photographer does not mean a good jewelry photographer. Baby, not as in like a baby holding a camera, but as in like a person that photographs newborns, does not mean that they're gonna, and they do a fantastic job with photographing newborns. It does not mean that they will be great at jewelry photography. It does not mean that they're going to be good at events photography, at weddings, at product e-commerce photography. No, like every type of photography is very specific with certain things, and jewelry, especially when it comes to reflection management, is a very, very, very naughty thing. So yeah, enough about that. But if you want to invest into yourself, look, there's so many resources, both free, paid. There's live workshops, there's online workshops, and there's simply picking up your phone and practicing 5 minutes every day. taking a photo of a piece of jewelry every day on your daughter or on your sister or on your mother or whatever, you know, or a friend or a neighbor. Just practice, 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 you know? So if you want to have really good content on your website, you can either invest money into someone else or time into yourself. So you can either do that for free by watching loads of videos on YouTube and all that stuff on Instagram and TikTok, or you can choose a highway and like purchase a course or something. I have created multiple that I know produce insane results for people. So, you know, that would be the highway of investing into yourself. And why do I say that you can create model photos that are absolutely insane without professional gear? This is the example. On the left-hand side, I did a photo shoot, I think that was 2 years ago, with a model, Evita. And on the left, you can see a photo that I created with my 3,000 pounds worth of gear. So that includes like camera, lens, all that stuff. It's all natural light, okay? So there's no artificial light that's being used in these shots. And yeah, it's natural light foam boards. That's it. And yeah, this is the result that we had. Now, on the right-hand side, you can see a photo that has been done with a 700-pound gear. It was my iPhone 12 Pro. And after a little bit of editing, in reality, you cannot see that much of a difference. Yes, there's maybe a 20%, you know, quality increase in the camera, in a camera photo. But in reality, like phone cameras can take such insane shots these days that you really, really don't need to worry about, oh, I don't have a good enough camera. No, absolutely not. Like, you can create insane content yourself. Okay, moving on. Location, your home space. I personally, whenever I can, I shoot in my home. It's the most comfortable for me here. I move a lot, so home changes every half a year or so, which is quite frustrating. But pros, you don't need to move anywhere, especially with loads of jewelry. You know where everything is. You can prepare jewelry the day before and not pay for the studio, you know, like coming in, unpacking everything. You don't have to pay for that time. You can track the sunlight. You know exactly when the sun is going to be where, and it's completely free. Cons is limited space, limited sunlight, limited props, and strangers in your home. Some people don't really like that. So yeah, this the image on the left is exactly where we took this photo. And the image of the right is my other home, where we literally have this tiny bit of sunshine coming from the rooftop windows. And Eva and I did a catalog photo shoot, and that was perfect, you know? Now you can also go have a location photo shoot. You can shoot outside. I highly recommend scouting locations beforehand. So pros, you can play with a lot of different backgrounds, meaning your photo shoot will be super varied. It's easy to convey your brand's feel by choosing the location, and it's also free. Cons, people watching, especially when models change clothes in very, very public spaces. That is quite uncomfortable. There's no space to keep the jewelry. There's always wind that you have to take into consideration. You need an assistant for reflectors, and it's very weather dependent. So for example, the number of times we had to cancel photo shoots because we just had no sunshine, or it was raining, or it was super windy is too damn high. Also, you can hire a professional studio. So if you are in London, it starts from £50 an hour, hiring a professional studio where they help you organize the gear, the light reflectors and all that stuff. Yeah, you can play with a lot of different backgrounds and props. There's professional help on hand, great gear available, gorgeous backstage content that you can create for your brand, which is also so very important. There's a lot of sunlight if you choose an open studio space. However, it's another investment. It can get quite expensive. There's a lot of gear that you don't really need to use. You are very restricted with time. And again, it's also weather dependent if you are working with natural light. Now, hair, makeup, manicure is something that so many brands try to save on, or simply don't have a time to think about, okay? Hair, normally when we do photo shoots, we don't focus too much on the hair, okay? Only when we need a very specific look, such as like bridal, like when we photograph bridal jewelry or something. Makeup is always absolutely crucial to have. Only have professional makeup artists. Please don't go to your friend that does makeup once in a while, or someone on Facebook that doesn't have really high-end portfolio, because makeup can genuinely make or break a photo, and have a very specific mood board ready for what exactly makeup you want. So we all have blemishes, okay? We all have like little sunburn spots or general spots because we ate too much bread the night before, and makeup can cover all of that. It does make your editing process much easier. It gives that extra oomph to your photos. And yeah, and remember, even the no makeup look for makeup artists takes much longer than a full-on glam. Yeah, I remember once I had a photo shoot and the client was saving a lot on everything, so we tried to cut the budget as much as possible. And they were like, "Oh, can the model do her own makeup? Because we are women, we do makeup once in a while, we know how to do it, right? Like, how bad can it be?" And the girl came, I swear to God, with very, very tan face and very white neck. And we were photographing necklaces. And I thought I was going to cry because after that, I had to blend in every single, I think there were 100 photos, and I had to blend like even out the colors of the face and the neck, and everything was patchy. There were fake tan patches, like crazy. And also, when it comes to makeup, always put makeup on the chest, especially when photographing necklaces, and especially if the face and the chest are in the same shot, just again to make sure that the colors of these body parts are exactly the same. Manicure, always a key. If you assume that the model will have a good manicure, don't. I had models come in with green nails, freshly done manicure, but it's green nails because it's Christmas season, right? I had models with very grown out nails come out. I had models that understood that neutral and natural manicure is just splashed on white paint, you know? Always assume that always assume that this just manicure is not going to be good. So purchase it beforehand, send the model to the manicure, and you're gonna understand that it's going to completely change the quality of your photos as well. Now, wardrobe is as important as the model, photographer, and the makeup artist. Model creates it kind of like sorry, not the model, the wardrobe binds everything together. Now imagine if this model on the left hand side was wearing completely different outfit, like jeans, very simple t-shirts, no hair, just like wore a ponytail. The whole vibe, the whole aesthetic of the image would change with that as well. So there's multiple ways of get clothes for the photo shoots. You can either collab with independent artists, you can go to a high street like Zara, H&M, Massimo Dutti, and return everything after the photo shoot, which is not the best way sustainability wise, but in reality 99% of the industry does this, sadly. And we can also hire a stylist. It's easy but expensive alternative because normally they charge around £200 for a change of like maybe 4 clothes, 4 outfits. So it's a more expensive alternative, but you know, you don't have to worry about the returns and all that stuff. If you are the person that goes to ASOS, orders the clothes, shoots them, and returns them back, remember to have larger cleavages. We love the transparent materials as well. We love big sleeves, on-brand colors, especially light colors. They work really, really well for photographing jewelry because they add extra layer of reflection on the piece that we're photographing. And also, don't worry about the trousers or shoes much. Most jewelry shots are up to the belly button, you know, so that is not the investment that you want to be making. Now, let's get to the shooting part. We've done the whole prep. We've done the 80% that is the most important for preparing for the photography, right? So shooting. This is my reminder that you don't need expensive lights to shoot your content, because natural light is all you need. First things first, to manage natural light, you need reflections. When photographing models, you need foam boards as well. If you follow me, I'm a follow. What? I'm a follow. Sorry, my brain is not working today. I feel like I had a coffee. I had a prune or something for breakfast, and that's it. And it's not waking me up at all. So the things I'm thinking and the things I'm saying are sometimes a little bit different. So foam boards are used to reflect light. In product photography, we use them quite small. In model photography, ideally you want them as big as possible to cover as much space and bounce as much light back to the model. So now this is Iawa. I think you have probably communicated beforehand. She is also the admin of the WhatsApp community. So we did a little test with Iawa on what a difference foam boards make in light and everything, right? So on the left-hand side, you can see an image just plain. Iawa standing there, there's light coming from behind her. That's it, super shadowy. We brought in one foam board, I think it was A1 size, and the difference is insane, right? The whole image brightens up. There's no more shadows in the face. Everything looks so much more even. And even if you look at the necklace, because of the light and because of all the distractions around in the studio, the necklace looks quite black. Now, if you zoomed in, this is already filled with golden color because the light is bouncing back. It doesn't have much to reflect. So when it comes to model photo shoots, I suggest having 4 or 5 A1 and a couple of A4 size foam boards. So ideally you have stands, or you can also have those big poly boards things, that you don't even need to hold. So you have a few things that are standing just there, and then a small foam board that you always have next to the piece of jewelry that you're photographing to manage those local reflections. Now, also, if you live in the UK and if you feel like there's never enough sunlight for me to photograph anything and it's always raining and the weather is always horrible and terrible, I have a solution for you. So for example, in this shot, it was snowing outside. It was November or December when we were shooting for Aber Lion and the weather was horrible. So I used the Godox FV200 light. Back in the day, it cost £200 maybe. So it's an investment that is worth making for anyone that feels like there's never enough sunlight, or if you live in a very dark environment. It basically simulates light. So these are called continuous LED lights. I don't use any soft boxes on them to make sure the light is as harsh and direct as possible. And I always like to put them behind the model on a 45-degree angle. So if you can see here, this is exactly how I took this image. So the model is behind her, there's white curtain. On her left-hand side, there's a white wall that's already bouncing a lot of light from the light that is around here, coming from 45 degrees angle from the model's back. And we also have this big foam board here, bouncing the light back on again, and me holding the smaller foam board that I was telling you about in order to make sure that all of these little tiny letters on her choker are full on gold. Because if you can see, like, chokers are very difficult to photograph, especially if they have multiple points of reflection, because it's a bent curve kind of a thing. So they take reflections from here, 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 and here. So ideally, as much white space you have around the model and those highly reflective pieces, the better. This is the setup that I was talking about. So let's go through everything very, very quickly. This is a loft that I was crashing at because my friends went to Bali and they were like, oh, do you want to come and live here? I was like, yeah, sure. So yeah, I was just shooting everything from my home space. So you can see, like, the model was around here in the corner. We have the white ceiling. We have a white wall that is bouncing a lot of light. We have 2 A1 size foam boards. We have a foldable store horse that I just found in the closet that I realized I can hold the foam boards very easily. And we have the small foam board around A4 size that I managed the local reflections with. Now, the model was where the chair is, where you can see kind of like stuffed in the corner in a very, very tiny space. We had curtains that helped us disperse the light coming in from the outside. And up on the top left, there was our usual sunshine spot, right? You can see the skies are gray. The weather in Lithuania is not better than in the UK, so we never had a lot of great sunshine to shoot with, you know? So yeah, when it comes to shooting as well, so settings, I would definitely take the screenshot, okay? If you shoot with an iPhone, there's not much to do. Everything can be done in post-production when it comes to settings. You can't create magic with, photographing things on an iPhone. Now, with a camera, if you have any sort of manual DSLR or whatever, finding the right settings might seem very mind-boggling. But because I'm not a very technical gal, I've figured out my own formula that allows me to understand how to choose the right settings for the camera. First, we need to know our aperture. So this is the f with a number. The lower the aperture, the more blurry everything is around the object that you're focusing on. The higher the aperture, or the f, is, the sharper everything goes. So you can go like from f14, f18, f22, for example, everything is going to be in focus. If you go f4, f5, f6, whatever, everything is going to be quite blurry. So most of the time I shoot on f5 or f5.6. Now, once you understand if you want everything in focus or everything blurry, you have to arrange the ISO and shutter speed. ISO should be as low as possible, and shutter speed should be as high as possible. So you set everything up and you just play with those. Aperture, you keep it as it is. You don't change it. You only change ISO and shutter speed. You take a photo, you see that it's blurry, you change the ISO, you change the shutter speed, to balance it out. And you play until everything works out. Now, if you work with natural light and it changes all the time, you leave the ISO, you leave the aperture, you only adjust shutter speed. Ideally, on your camera, you have like a little spinny wheel that can help you adjust the shutter speed on the go. But yeah, I found that to be the easiest way to photograph everything. And even now, like, I feel like I always look so non-professional when taking photos of jewelry because I never look through the little like hole in the camera, because I need to see the photos that I take through the screen because the light is changing all the time. I need to know exactly like when to change the settings. So pretty much every 5 photos that I take, they have different settings, because I control the shutter speed as we photograph. So yeah, my idea and my recommendation for you is don't aim for proficiency. Aim for growth and make sure that you are better tomorrow than you are today, even if it's 5 minutes of your time that you spend practicing what you want to learn, be it product photography, model photography, understanding the composition of how to, place everything on models. Do not try to become a professional photographer. You have a jewelry business to run. Remember, like, I know that as an independent maker, you have so many roles. You're the marketer, social media manager, you're a person who posts out everything, you're a person that communicates to the clients, that you have to do so much. So I really hope you don't feel that content creation is now has to be your full-time job. It really, really doesn't. But it's only going to be this way if you invest a little bit of your time every single day into becoming better and better and better, and watching yourself progress. So just try to be better than you are now, every day, every month, every year. And with 5 minutes spent every day, in a year's time, you're going to look back at your results today and you're going to be like, oh, damn. Because this is a quote that I read recently and I love it. So there is nothing more scary than being in the same place 1 year from now. So basically you have 2 options. You have an option to start learning now, start practicing now, and finding yourself in a much better place, no matter where you are now, next year in summer 2025. Or you can just continue, I don't know if you I don't know why I said continue, but you can just, stay where you are without putting effort and pushing yourself forward and stay in exactly the same place, Things have to be done. You need to take action to be better. By sitting down in one place and thinking that you need to create content or you need model shots, you need product shots, I need to take photos for the Etsy listings, it's not going to take you anywhere unless you stand up, pick up your gear and go shooting and go planning and go doing all that stuff. Because remember that nothing changes if nothing changes. That is my all-time favorite quote ever. So if you are ready to make a change, if you're really, really ready to take action and understand how to take that perfect photograph of your jewelry yourself, or train your member of the team to do exactly that, I invite you to a jewelry photography masterclass that I'm organizing in London on the 2nd of October. This is our very, very first live event. We hired this insane space that you see on the right-hand side. Is going to be filled with natural light. We're also going to bring in a lot of equipment to emulate natural light, just in case, the London does its thing and doesn't have any sunshine. And we're going to have models in multiple models in different corners of the space where you can actually photograph your jewelry on them. So how the day is going to go, let me tell you, it's going to be epic. So the first part of the day is going to be seminars, just pure information uploads to you. So we're going to talk about how to organize a photo shoot that maximizes leads and sales generation with no pro gear. How to photograph jewelry on a model in a much more extensive way. Like, I'm going to be talking about how to manage reflections, where to put the foam balls, how to navigate everything in much, much clearer detail. How to pose yourself and others. Here we are going to have a guest speaker come in and show you how to model jewelry on yourself and how to photograph it there. How to edit photos quickly and efficiently using the latest AI tools. This is going to be a full hour dedicated on editing fast, without how basically I'm going to show you how 45 minutes editing process can be turned into a 2 minutes thing on your phone. Then we're going to have lunch. It's going to be a mastermind lunch because there's no rest for the wicked, okay? We're not resting. We're working hard because we want to achieve high results in one day. So a guided mastermind lunch is going to be where we have lunch, which is included in the price of the workshop, where you sit down with other people that attend the webinar, the event, and you come with one problem that you really want to solve. We split you in groups, and other jewelers with experience in having that problem in their business and solving it tell you exactly what to do in order not to have a problem anymore. So this is going to be our little mastermind lunch. And after that, we're going to have practice. So it's going to be 3 solid hours of hands-on photography workshop on multiple models in the room using your own camera. Yes, you can bring a DSLR, natural light and continuous LED light. So every attendee will have a dedicated time slot with a model scheduled in advance to make sure that everyone has enough time to experiment. You are going to be able to choose the clothes that you want the model to wear. You're going to be able to literally bring your jewelry and put it on the model and photograph it, applying the things that we talk about in the seminars. And I'm going to be there to guide you if you have any questions and if you need some guidance with posing or with lights or with settings or anything. So it's going to be epic. I'm going to drop a comment with tickets there. It's also in the link in the bio of our Instagram. So yeah, make sure to attend. The tickets go up in price in 3 days. On the 1st of September is going to be the 3rd release. So yeah, it's going to be insane. So now it's time for Q&A. If you have any questions at all, do let me know and we can, begin. Let me just close this one, stop share. There we go. Okay, hopefully you can still see. Everyone can see me? Perfect. Amazing. So let me know if you have any questions about jewelry photography. Let me quickly go to I'm gonna share the link to the event. I'm gonna drop it here. So this is the link in the comment section for the event, for the live jewelry photography event. And fire up the questions. Let's do this. UGC, what is the UGC? I see a question. So it's user-generated content, like I mentioned before, is something where a person that is a client. Okay, let me rewind. A big problem that jewelers face is that they sell a piece of jewelry. A client takes a photo, a client receives that jewelry. They take a not beautiful, they take a photo, wearing that jewelry, and you want to repost it, but it's completely off brand. It's taken in bad lights. Maybe you're not, too keen on the clothes that the model is wearing. Not the model, the person that is posing. And yeah, most of the time, the photos that the clients take with your jewelry are pretty terrible, and you can't share it with your community and with your potential clients. So user-generated content, it stimulates your buyers. It basically builds trust by showing your potential clients that, hey, this is this super pretty girl that has purchased so many of jewelry, so many pieces of jewelry from me, and she loves it and she wears it and she looks stunning wearing it, So yeah, it's another way of marketing, I guess. UGC is the most popular way of marketing products, I would say, in 2024. So if you haven't looked into that yet, that is just your sign too. Do exactly that. Okay, Zaina is asking, do we have to show the whole face of the model? So if you are, if you've invested into a professional model, if you're paying her like £400 for half a day, I highly recommend showing the model's face, because this is going to be the face of your brand. But if you're going for the catalog photo shoot where you only need, close-up shots, there's no need for sure. Yes, the images with model's face are going to bring you higher conversion rates naturally, but if not, then I always recommend, if you have the budget, go for a full-on photo shoot. So for example, what we do, people book a model photo shoot and we do a mix. So for example, we have a pendant to photograph. We photograph it both with full face and as a close-up. And then the client can choose which image they want to go for, because there's some images that work perfectly, again, for ads, for website banners, for Instagram reel headers, So I personally, if I had a jewelry brand, model photo shoot with full face in is something that I would definitely invest in. And Catherine's asking, is there any way of improving a bad UGC photo? For that, you would need editing skills. Honestly, with editing, you can adjust anything and everything. For me, that sounds very, for me, it feels very easy to do, but you do need to put practice into, managing Photoshop or any phone editing app. In reality, to improve a very, very bad photo, you will need Photoshop. Yeah, but impossible is nothing, Sometimes I've taken photos and I'm like, oh no, this is too dark, this is so terrible. And then after post-production, I'm like, oh, this is fantastic, So yeah, I don't think we have any more questions at all. Thank you so much, everyone who joined today. I'm going to be uploading this webinar on YouTube as well. If you want to check it out, it's going to be there for a couple of weeks before, the next webinar that we organize. And hopefully you gathered some really great